So I want to share today about fairs, festivals, and events. And it's a bit of a passion to me to be able to travel around the world, not only around the country, but I enjoy that immensely. And it doesn't matter really which country I'm in, I've always enjoyed travel. And I know there are many people that dream of travel and they have a little bit of hesitation or a lot of hesitation. Next year, a decade goes by, maybe two, and you haven't done it because the time just wasn't quite right. I want you to know there's no right time. For example, back in 1980, I was looking out my apartment in Salisbury, Maryland, out over the frozen lake, the leafless trees, the barren trees. It was a gray day in November. It was cold. It was late November, and the winter hadn't even arrived. However, it had snowed. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to stay here and look at this for 5 months. And I had was working on merchant ships, and they had such a huge tax. I would go work for 6 months and they pay me for 4 months like any other job. But I wanted to have a legitimate tax deduction. So I bought a boat, I got my captain's license, and I took people charter fishing and scuba diving and all kinds of things. So my boat became a tax deduction, my fuel became a tax deduction, and all of my travel and fun became a deduction. So I got to keep a lot more money. I looked out that window and I had a Bronco, the big Bronco back in the day. Uh, and I had a Mako 23-foot fishing boat with a 200 horsepower on the back of it that I used all summer for charter fishing. And I used for commercial fishing. I was catching all kinds of fish, long lining, and just out in the ocean, free spirited with the sea. And that's where I was fortunate enough to get and find my oneness with. Some people can't stand silence, but I was given that gift to be on the ocean and find that connection, which is really important. I suggest these are little side notes that I suggest everyone did. So I looked out that window and I said, I'm not staying. And I said, so I'm going to Key West. I knew a couple people down there. I said, it's just down the street. I mean, it's 1,600, 1,800 miles. To me, you're either sitting in your living room watching TV, you sleep, you get up, sit in your house if you're working in your house, or you go to work, or you're not working, so you turn the TV on again, or today it's probably, the phone or whatever it is, but you're sitting and you're not really doing anything. So I look around and I was at the beach in Thailand, really it was a little higher end area, and there's people out in front of these really cool restaurants, cafes. They're pretty well to do, and they're all sitting there in silence, like 12 of them in different groups. Not one of them was talking to each other. They were like all on their phone. And then I drive by the beach, and then the workers, the everyday workers, they're at the beach, and mom and the kid and the husband. There, a few were swimming, but and the teenagers and maybe the young in the 20s and everything, they're like taking pictures at the beach. That's fun, but they're sitting even late at night. They're having a party and the drinks are out. I'm doing my walking and the drinks are out and they're on their phone. So things have changed from the TV. So I looked out that window and I said, Key West not that far. I went 2 days later, hooked up my makeup, packed a couple of bags, and drove to Key West. That's that. I asked a friend, "Do you want to go?" He goes, "Yeah." And he stayed there. I went about my business. I came back and I lived there actually from uh, 78 through 87. But that was a time when I had a couple of places. So I drove all the way down because I wasn't staying there in the winter. What is it that like you just have to decide? And there is again, like I said in the beginning of this little webinar here, is there is no perfect time. You probably heard that a lot. And I was having a meeting, and one of my team players says, "Well, I want to get this perfect." I said, don't waste your time getting it perfect. Let's get it right. Let's get it good enough, which is our mind. Let's just go for it. And that's how I found out about fairs, festivals, and events. There's a lot of stuff in between, and I'm not going to go through my stories, even though they're a lot of fun and include like Jimmy Buffett, Sloppy Joe's in Key West, and a lot of adventure out into the dry Tortugas and 90 miles from Key West. I ended up on a captain. You just never know what's going to happen until you go a little bit farther or you go a lot farther and you discover stuff that you say, wow, that's so cool. Even earlier this morning, today, I had a wonderful discovery, a bunch of them, because there was too much traffic and I want to go to a different way. And one thing led to another. I had to make a decision that I want to wait in some traffic or that I want to go around. And when we go on that road that's less traveled, I don't really like that book. It's a little wordy, but a lot of people do. When you go on that road that's less traveled, today it's kind of hard to find, but it can be the mental, it probably needs to be the mental road that's less traveled. We get images in our mind, and depending on our focus and what we listen to, what we focus on, what we see is a product of listening to people, other people's influences, influence online, all these other things. Sometimes we gotta just cut it. The things that like the anchors, the invisible anchors, or sometimes they're not so invisible. They're huge. Like we imprison ourselves, right? Or we anchor ourselves and we want to go full ahead and you feel it inside and you can't because that anchor is holding you back. So many anchors, not like one. There's many anchors. You got to get a really sharp knife and you got to cut. You got to cut every line. Some of them are going to be hard to cut, but you got to work harder and keep that knife sharp and cut it and slash it and go forward. Just go full ahead, even though you don't have a perfect picture of where you're going. It will never be perfect anyway. It'll be perfectly imperfect. And that's the joy of the journey, that it's perfectly imperfect. And therein lies the joy of the journey. So I always looked on my darkest days, if you will. I would look and like could be frustration, fear, anxiety, anything, all of those less than useful emotions that we all feel and sometimes get overwhelmed with. And in my days of overwhelm, which I'm happy to tell you there aren't any anymore, none. And that's just with practice. That's like breaking through each little barrier. And then we go for big barriers and we keep going. We push through. That's what gives us the power. And that's the thing that I learned from reading a lot of books and I have a shortcut. What you really want to do is you want to click on the bell. You want to engage here on YouTube, on LinkedIn. Please join me and connect with me. Uh, Also on Instagram, follow me. I will take you on a journey of fearlessness and courage to overcome no matter what the challenge is, whether you're not having enough fun, whether you don't have enough finance, whether you don't have enough fitness, or you want more of any of those, and you're lacking fun because there's a few dark clouds around and you just want the whole package. I have built a package. Like, it's taken years to put it together. I had a lot of naysayers. People don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. Well, they want to do this. Why? With 101 countries experience traveling and understanding that it's just another day, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what you're doing. The challenges are bigger or they're smaller, but they're challenges. Doesn't matter you have a little money or you have a lot of money. The challenges are there, and life is there. And where the great rewards are is when we do what it is that satisfies, fulfills us, and those around us smile or they enjoy, and they look, they go, hey, that guy's having fun, that girl's having fun, that lady's having fun. They're having fun. Them, they, she, he, whoever they all are these days, having fun doing what you love to do. And if you're being held back, you may never. I remember I was in this math class with a Mr. Boyd, and we were kids, and we played a lot, junior high, high school, and I forget whether it was junior high or high school. And Mr. Boyd said, some people mature when they're 16 or 17. Some mature when they're in their 20s or their 30s, and some mature when they're about 86 and they die when they're 83. And I never forget that, because when the child within comes without, and the fearlessness of the children and the childlike thinking, there's so much out there like, oh, go back to your childhood. I mean, it's a California thing, I think. But no matter, I say, why do you have to go back? Why can't you live at all levels in life? And no, I mean, I see some people that are so serious, I think they're going to crack in half. I mean, life was not meant to be a struggle. Only when you listen to the wrong people will you think that life is a struggle. And I'm not here to right and wrong anybody, but in my mind, that's, let's say, inaccurate. How do I know? I've proven it not once, again and again and again. And into 2021, we've all had challenges. Like, 2020 showed up, like, what the hell, right? Like, whoa, this is new, exciting adventure. That's when we get to think. And I made a little post on my phone. I said, people's big problem, you go look online, their biggest problem, not enough time. I don't have enough time in the day, right? I'm like, really? I don't have enough time in the day. So I did this little post. I'm in someplace in Tarpon Springs, Florida. I found this beautiful park. Nobody is around. I think there's like 3 other people in the park in the midst of this thing that they shut down the state before that brilliant governor straightened things out. So I'm just chilling and connecting on a beautiful March morning in beautiful Tarpon Springs. And I discovered some really cool things other than downtown. great Greek bakeries and restaurants that stayed open. I mean, I just like homemade stuff, like to live for, and not to die for, to live for. Some people get that backwards. I mean, why would you want to die when you're tasting something really good? I don't know who came up with that stupid saying, but we need to flip it. To live for is what we need to say, not to die for. That is so lame and so turned around vibration. Like, who wants to be talking about that in the middle of 2020? Hello. So let's live on. And I'm doing my little video, and I realized I had so much time. And I realized, and I started thinking, it appeared to me that people's biggest complaint, their reasons, their whining, not enough time. Oh, I never have enough time in the day. Then all of a sudden, 2020 came along. We had so much time. What did you do with it? How have you used that time? Did you whine, complain, create, uh, look for the challenge, look for the solution, look for change, knowing change is going to have to happen because there's nothing more permanent than change, right? Always changing. You get comfortable, and then boom, you wake up one day and you say, oh my God, sledgehammer time. Wake up, I got to do something. So I was in Florida studying the business of travel, RVs, fairs, festivals, and events in depth. That's why I drove to Florida, and I started in Virginia, and I went through a lot of RV campgrounds, and I learned a lot of things. Then I went to three of the biggest trade shows in Florida for RV travel, and I studied and I learned, and I actually did a trade show. I did a show. It wasn't a trade show. It was a retail show for the R Village group of people, which is up to 500,000 now that just travel. And there's new people traveling all the time. And I set up my booth. They had vendors area, and there was like 550 people, slots that people went there. And it wasn't huge, but it was small. And I met people who wanted to sell jewelry on the road. They sold something on the road, like driving a big trailer behind them or a small trailer. So there's a lot of, it's worked that way. But with the Peter Stone jewelry program, selling at fairs and festivals couldn't be simpler. It's like 2 square yards or 2 square meters of containers fit in any car. I at the beginning of this, we showed some. I rented. I was renting cars to drive to Florida, and they said, "Well, screw this. It was too much." So I just went out and bought one, and I got an SUV that was an Edge. It was kind of sporty. I like sporty cars. Beautiful deep sea blue. It was a gift. I walked in. I drove out. That was that, and I still had that car. But that car is the car I use to drive around and do these fairs, festivals, and events. Great stereo, good music, drove great, good on gas, and I made some money. I made some connections. I went to fairs and festivals throughout Florida to test it for you who want to be able to be free and you don't want to drag around something big and all that to sell. These are small displays. We'll show you some of them uh, in the next webinar because I put together 3 packages for fairs, festivals, and events. You pick it. There's over 36,000 fairs, festivals, and events. And they're geared for whatever. You're a snake lover, or you're a pork lover, or you're a barbecue, or you're a boat person, or a biker, or Celtic, or Renaissance, or Viking, or pirate, whatever. You are just high-end jewelry. Build a business, a big enterprise. Now is the best time ever. Why? There's a lot of junk jewelry in the marketplace. There's a ton of jewelry out there, but there's only a little bit of really nice jewelry. I want to let you know that. You can go to peterstone.com and see that, and you can actually order some and check it out. And we have a return policy. If you don't like it, just send it back. I mean, no hard feelings, but we hardly ever get any jewelry back. Even better, you can buy a package. I put together packages for starters, a mid-level for some, like people that have a little experience selling and they want to grow, and then I have someone who wants to go full on into an enterprise and make some real money. There are so many side opportunities attached to it. In other words, you go out, you're selling jewelry, that's it. No, I've added other ways for you to make income along the way that are like, I bet there's like 5 or 10 extra perks that if you're really entrepreneurial or you want to make, you're a hustler or you want to get into that game in a bigger way, I've got so many tools. And when you do that in a big way, you have direct connection with me. And I will help you every step of the way. When you're out helping yourself, then magic shows up. People show up, people come to help you. Your intention, your in energy goes out into the universe, and the right people shows up, the right situations show up, and I'm here to help you with what I know. I mean, it's a pretty darn good formula. Only if you want more freedom in your life, only if you want more money and finance in your life, only if you want to stay fitter without having to go to the gyms. And I know some people like gyms. I personally don't. I like to be out in the sunshine, getting my vitamin D, the fresh air, oxygenating, bending, twisting, smiling, talking to people that I haven't met, learning some cool stuff face to face, not face to book, face to face. That needs to be the new norm. Face to face, not face to book. I know somebody's going to write that down as a quote someplace. The new normal is face to face, not face to book. We'll bury that baby someplace. And we'll get back to real heart to heart, soul to soul, life to life, living to living, and feel the energy of the festive spirit that lies in every person's heart and soul around the world. That's the goal here at Peter Stone, to break you open and crack you open so that you get out and live and stop being so careful and walking on potato chips or whatever that saying goes, because I don't know, walking lightly. I mean, go boldly into your day, go boldly into your life and love life and welcome the challenge. Take time, don't freak. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Call Peter. Call Peter. I'll help you. You got challenges. Look, when you engage with Peter Stone and you join our program, you will have access to me, to my team. We will get you solutions, not only in business, in life, in freak out time. What do I do now? I mean, what did I do in the middle of the ocean? There were 35 people on a ship, 750 feet long, and the thing's flooding. What do you do? What happens when a pump blows up? Who do you call? You call the plumber? You call the electrician? No, you are the electrician. You are the plumber. You are the welder. You are the refrigerator person. You are all of those. And if you're not, we're going down, baby. So when you're given a challenge, like one time in the engine room, this high pressure 980 psi gauge. You know what the psi pressure in your car? You know, a tire blows out at like 40 pounds. Pow! Well, this is 980 pounds of pressure right behind my head. Pow! The thing blew up, and this guy ran. And he was like my assistant. and he runs. I'm like, well, where are you running to? You got about another 50 feet, you'll be over the side of the ship. Why are you running? Why aren't you shutting off the emergency valves and fix that baby and let's keep moving across this big sea? What are you going to do? Run? You going to hide? Or are you going to get out and live your life? Finance, fun, freedom, fitness. How much time do you have? I don't know. But I scored on my little book here another 65, 70 years. I intend to enjoy it fully. Yeah, I have some days I got to think pretty darn hard about the situation that's going on. And I've been doing that like in the last week. And I, the weather changed here. The rain stopped and the pressure is higher and it's sunnier and I feel better. And that's part of the fairs and festival things. You get outside, you feel better in a higher pressure atmosphere and not so much rain and clouds and things. And you feel better. And I'm charging in the sun, picking up my vitamin D. Why do I feel better? Because of all those things that don't require much effort. I just do it. But I have to do it. And I have to ride my bike and I have to swim. And I have to be grateful in between laps on the pool. Now I have two pools. In between laps on the pools and the birds singing and there's beautiful flowers around and I'm in the tropics and I'm like, man, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I feel so lucky that I have grown up with the courage to just go for it. My parents, not both, just one. My mother encouraged me, encouraged me, encouraged me. My father was a busy building. And she was the philosopher in the family. He was not. And she was a writer and they were both artists. She played music. She never bought a single piece of clothing. She made every single piece of clothing she wore herself. I just like, okay, thanks. I'll take all those gifts. And so I'm grateful. I thank my parents forever, who are probably pretty close by. And I just want to say one thing before I check out here. As you go along your daily journey and you're getting strung up in some stuff, sticky stuff you don't want around you, just try and do one thing. And I say try because it's some people it's difficult. And you got to turn that around and find the one little thing that you can be grateful for in the moment. And if it's not right there, well, take a minute or two, stop, breathe, write something down, find it, dig deep, and find something good because that'll help you break a little anxiety, it'll break some fear. It'll say, yeah, life is actually good. Life is beautiful, and people are good. They're just misguided most of the time. Having traveled over 100 countries, I've seen all kinds of cultures. I've been in back streets. I've almost been killed in Chile. All kinds of stuff in Colombia, and right in the middle of the drug cartels, pirates on the ship. I'm 18 years old. Guns everywhere on the ship. I'm like, something's good about this. What an adventure. I lived through it all. Even the 357 Magnum on the table back in the days of mind altering substances. I walk into this guy's house. This guy's doing a deal. There's a 357 Magnum on the table in Colombia, not so far from the capital. And I'm a little old me from a little town of 4,000 people. little fishing guy, and I was exposed to this when I was 18. And new day, right? It's a new day. So in those situations, I don't really know what to do except say, yeah, yeah, okay, whatever you say. So here's the money, and the deal's done, and we move on. So what an adventure South America was for 6 months, and so what's your adventure? I mean, just get out and live it. And I know some people like to be safe, but there's no safety. There's no safety anywhere. If you're at home and the electricity goes out, it's cold, right? Did you stock up wood? Have you looked ahead? A little bit of vision. Okay, you got a little extra food and those things. Just make sure that you are starting to think about the future a little bit now, and a future of freedom. Make sure you got some cash flow. When you invest in sterling silver jewelry, you have invested in a precious metal. No matter what happens, your inventory is always precious and valuable. And if inflation or money, like the commodities go through the roof, you became very rich because your precious metal jewelry now multiplied in value and you did nothing. That's just a little side benefit. And all of our jewelry is assayed. So when you go, if you ever had to sell it for scrap and get a lot of money, because if you ever went to a fair and a festival and you're selling candles or ceramic plates or t-shirts or clothing, uh, I mean, you can only wear so many clothes on the dark day, and you can only make so many polished cloths out of t-shirts if they don't sell. So I want to let you know the benefits of jewelry in the fairs, festivals, and events. Please subscribe again. We'll give you a link. You can come to peterstone.com, and that will guide you into our fairs, festivals, and events. We're going to give you a link to that and give you a link to sign up for a newsletter and get involved because I'm launching my packages in the next is we're testing everything. So I thought we would make it into this month. I said October. Well, I miscalculated a little bit, but we want to do it as right and the best way that we can. So test. It's always good to test things before you go ahead. Other than when you just get on ship and you go, there's no testing. You go for the adventure. The adventure presents itself, but that's when you got to have faith in you. You better have faith in a higher power, a faith in God, or a faith in a connection that everything is always going to be okay. And embrace the challenges and know the problems. Then problems focus 2, 3%. I know what it is. Now focus on the solution. What do I need to do? I need to connect. I need silence. The answer will come. The answer always comes. And sometimes it comes not in the time that you want it to. Could take days, could take weeks, could take months for a crystal. And the answer doesn't just show up. Oh, yeah, okay, that's the thing I got to do. No, within your actions, the opportunity shows up, and bam, that's the magic in life. Is that through your day and your time, when your energy is focused on the solution, then the universe and the primordial ooze out all the ether comes to your rescue, if you will, comes to your support. This is the law of life, and this is actually the law of abundance. But where people in the law of abundance and the law of attraction get it really wrong, and I mean wrong, is that they talk it, but they don't believe it. They act it, but they don't live it. And it's a very difficult thing to do, is to only expect the best to happen all the time. And it will. And it's tough. Even after I have been practicing, and I live this stuff. And so it's much easier for me to expect the best to happen. There's parking. Expect the best to happen, right? I needed this thing. It's there. Boom, right in front of me. I got off a plane. I went down the elevator, bad storm. I think it was in New Jersey, someplace, Newark. And I went down the stairs and it's like dark. It's late at night. And I'm like, oh, well, where's the bus? I got to wait for the bus to get to the rental car. So I went down one set of stairs, it was moving. Then I walked a little bit, and then I went down the next step. The door opened to the platform outside where everybody goes, the waiting area. The bus pulled up, the door of the bus opened, and I kept on walking. I didn't even stop. And the driver reached out so kindly and took my bags. And I'm like, see, Peter, that's how the law of expectation works. Even when you're really tired, you don't feel good, or you're not feeling your best. Let's say I didn't not feel good. I just was tired and been traveling, and it was the end of the day, and my mind wasn't the best. But in those times when all the rest of the time that we focus on that energy, that of expectation, when we need it most, boom, it showed up 11:28 at the Newark airport, and the doors opened every step of the way. I got into my car and I turned on the heat, and I said, wow, that was easy. So, what's in your head and what's the reality? You will predict and create your own future by your actions. Get up, get out, get out. I don't care the price of gas. Go sell an extra piece of jewelry. Hey, if it's a rain out, sell online. I'm going to show you online fairs, festivals, and events, and I'm even going to show you how to make commission talking to stores while you're shopping. You can make money. Talk to the store owner and while you're buying from them, right? Paying for the things that you're buying. I'm going to show you a way to make money. It's just like when I started my business. I didn't want to go pay for expensive hotels. I didn't have, I didn't want to spend $300-400 a night, or 200, or 100. So I said, I'm going to go to resort areas and I'm going to leave with more money than I came with. And I did it. And I done it around the world. Always simple, always easy. No, no, no. But fun and rewarding. It's just like everything. It's People say, what countries do you like best? Well, every country has something great, and every country has something not so great. But I always find the greatness wherever I go. I always find the upside wherever I go, because that's what I choose to focus on. And that's that. What do you choose to focus on? Focus forward, fast forward, full ahead forward, with fitness, finance, freedom, fun, new friends. Get up, get out, and hit the road to fairs, festivals, and events. It's Peter Stone saying thanks. Hey, enjoy your